That said, we have now entered an interview time. Welcome in our UFC expert, Mr. Octagon. Appreciate you joining us. Hope you're having a wonderful Saturday. We have a fight night tonight. Wanted to know, first of all, what are your thoughts about the matchups that we have? Are there any that you're really excited about? Oh, hold on one second. I need to get you on speaker. That's my fault. Okay, now go ahead.
How's it going, Wyatt? Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being with us. What are the fights that you're really excited about today?
So I'll tell you this. Whenever Ariana Lipski is fighting, I am watching. The best knee bar that I've ever seen in the UFC was put on by Ariana Lipski, and it was almost hard to watch. So I'm taking Ariana Lipski at plus 140 for the win, but if you want to roll the dice a little bit more, she's always good for a submission. So for her to win by a sub, she's actually plus 1,400 because her opponent, good jiu-jitsu expert, but I'm putting my money on Lipski.
So that's Lipski Gatto, and you think that is going to be a finish in what round?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? Third.
Oh, so you think it is an entertaining fight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are some other fights in this card that you're really excited about for this UFC Fight Night tonight that starts at 7 p.m.? That's going to be on ESPN.
So Alexander Romanov is coming back after a tough KO loss to Alexander Gustafsson. Romanov went 16-0 before losing his last two fights. I still think he's the real deal. I think those last two fights are fluky, and I like him tonight against Blagoy Ivanov. I think he's going to get the KO. So he's plus 450. Some money. I would hammer Romanov by a KO, plus 450.
What weight class is that? Those seem like some big boys.
Yeah, light heavyweight, big boys.
Okay. We'll get into...
Sorry, heavyweight. You're right, heavyweight.
What, and if you could, where could you see the best knockout coming? If there's going to be a knockout, if there's going to be just a brutal finish in any fight across the card, give me one that you may go, hey, you may not be a big UFC person, you may not know the people that are fighting, but if you're just in it for the viral moment that is going to go off, give me one fight you think that could come out of. Well,
for the carnage, I'm telling you, these guys are big. Blagoy Ivanov could even knock out Romanov. If you want to see some big boys get in the ring and bang, Romanov versus Ivanov. And that's on the prelims.
I was about to say, that's going off pretty early. So for all of those that are curious about the UFC Fight Night card tonight, that one's actually going off. I think it's one of the earliest fights that's going off at around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I'll be really interested to see those big guys going at it. But I do want to get into the major fight of the night, which is Strickland Magomedov. Who do you have coming out of that fight?
So I think Strickland's been on a little bit of a rough run of late. I think that knockout loss he took to Alex Pereira was pretty brutal. And what I really like about Strickland is it hasn't changed his game. He still wants to stand in the center. He still wants to throw. And that's what he's going to do tonight. And I don't think that Magomedov is in the same league as Alex Pereira. So I like Strickland via decision. He's not known as some sort of knockout artist, but he throws with ridiculous volume. And I think Magomedov is going to be overwhelmed tonight. So I like Strickland via decision at plus 165.
At plus 165 for all those playing at home. And it's kind of interesting that you're saying that he's both going to be a volume puncher, he's going to brutalize him, but there isn't going to be a knockout, so it's just going to be a war of attrition is what you're saying.
100%. He's a volume fighter, kind of like sort of like a Colby Covington, where you're not going to get knocked out by one punch, but if you get hit by 20 of them, you're not going to have a good night.
Another fight that we have that leads into that main match of the night is Ismagulov against Dawson. Give me a two. Say it one more time for me. Ismagulov. Thank you so much. Against Dawson. What can we expect in that one in a co-main card?
Well, what I'll tell you this is Ismagulov is one of these classic Kazakhstani wrestlers. And if you know anything about Kazakhstani wrestlers, they are terrifying, they're ferocious, they're relentless. And for that reason, I like him tonight against Dawson. So I'd take him at plus 125.
Taking him at plus 125 to finish when?
Just to win in any, if he wins in any capacity, we win money.
No, I understand. I understand that. But if you did have to think of when that fight might finish, where do you see it ultimately ending?
I could see a submission.
Okay. We're also getting a question in from TikTok Live from LRK425, who's got a question about the Griffin Morales fight. How do you see that one playing out? Do you like Morales in that fight?
Morales is the favorite, but Max Griffin has that dog in him. I wouldn't count him out. And if you want to make some underdog money, I'm going on Max Griffin.
What are you getting Griffin at?
Right in front of me, I have Max Griffin at... Sorry, I am calling from one of our satellite offices in New Hampshire, and the reception is garbaggio.
While our UFC expert, Mr. Octagon, looks that up, I do want to let everyone know who's watching the show that Mr. Octagon will join us before every fight. There are a ton of fights coming up. We'll have him on, usually on a Friday or a Saturday before each fight. That way you guys can ask your questions, learn a lot about the UFC, hopefully cash a few tickets on his plays. But, of course, make sure you guys are joining us. We're going to do our interview over the next few minutes, and we'll get back to your questions and comments in a section. Mr. Octagon, what do you have Griffin as a long shot odds at?
I am looking desperately. This is this Wi-Fi situation is
no worries. If you don't have it, garbage. So Morales gets his first loss is what you're considering.
Oh yeah.
LRK 425. He just heard that question. He was like, oh yeah, he is all about it. Okay, while you're also looking that up, what's that?
We're confident tonight.
We're confident. I like it, Mr. Octagon. Mr. Octagon's confidence either means he's knocking somebody out or he's getting knocked out, but either way, we are not going the full 3 rounds. That said, Bonfum versus Saint-Denis. Who do you have in that card?
That's more of a pick'em for me. I don't know.
By the way, which is totally fine, and we want to make sure all of you guys playing along at home, if our Mr. Octagon isn't into a play, we want to make sure he says that. If he isn't feeling it, it's just like how Butt Fumble Sports plays it. If there's a bet that we don't have good conviction in, we'll let you know. If we're saying it's a coin flip, that we're telling you, don't put your money on it. And if you are, it's not with us backing it. That said, Sammy J on TikTok Live. By the way, Mr. Octagon, this is why the Butt Fumble Sports audience is so badass, because when we ask them to go to work, they do it for us. He has Griffin plus 210 on DraftKings, so that would be a good play at Griffin plus 210 on DraftKings. LRK425 is also asking about Gatto. Just one more time. I know you mentioned it at the start of the interview, but since he's asking about it, just circle back to it. How do you think that fight's going to play out one more time?
So Gatto versus Lipsky, I'm taking Lipsky at plus 140. However, if you really want to gamble a bit, make some money, I like Lipsky via submission at plus 1,400.
Wow.
Sprinkle a little bit on that, and it could be a nice surprise for you.
Lipsky plus 1,400 on the submission. By the way, LRK 425 taking all the dogs. Yeah, Mr. Octagon, when he's not fighting, he is about them dogs. So, with that said, we also have one more fight I wanted to actually get to, which is Ferreira versus Ruzbo. Okay. Mr. Octagon, we're also here for the pronunciations. It was the last fight I wanted to talk about. Put this one out there. Give us the name first.
All right. We're looking at
Ferreira versus Ruzi Boez.
Yeah, Ruzi Boez.
Is this one that you're avoiding, or are you playing it?
I'm avoiding it.
Okay.
I'm avoiding it.
Good to know.
Are there guys, both kind of unknown? Your money is better spent elsewhere. Anything can happen in the Octagon.
Is there any other fight tonight that really gets you excited that's going to be getting your money at the book?
What I'm most excited about is seeing Strickland piece up Magomedov, and I want to see a brutal submission from Lipsky.
Well, clearly, because it sounds like you love those 1,400 odds. One last question is Petrovsky. Do you like Petrovsky?
I actually do. He's a great Ultimate Fighter prospect, and I could see him getting it done.
So that is our Mr. Octagon, who joins us before every UFC fight to give some of his analysis and some of the picks he's taking to the window. Wanted to give a big thank you. I know that it is July 4th weekend. I know you're up in the New Hampshire offices, and I know you're working with difficult tech situation, but really appreciate you being with us and hope you have a great July 4th. And of course, hope you cash a lot of tickets, Mr. Octagon.
We're winning tonight, baby. I got a good feeling.
Let's go, Mr. Octagon. Knock him out of the park. We will talk to you soon.
Adios.
With that said, we get back to our show.